Hello everyone again, Sergio here. I just changed my jersey, of course, to get in the context of the team I'm part of. I'm very proud of as well. Glasgow Roy Magic. And yeah, now I think we're gonna be able this time to join with Andrew from Canterbury Bankstown. They were known as Bankstown Berries as well. So again, let me know and let us know your question. Let us know. Just put it in the comments, whatever you want us to ask, maybe to talk about. As we said, this is a conversation about SAP Skill Acquisition Program that we both run in different clubs. Okay, I can see Andrew watching now. Let me see. Andrew, you watching there? Can you put in the comments? Maybe if you put in the comment section, I might be able to add you in the chat in the conversation. Or also, if you're watching, you can send me the request because I can find you right now here. So if you're there, please let me know. We even did a try yesterday night. Here we go. I got you here. Yeah, I got you there. Andrew, I think I got you now.
Finally.
Yes. Finally now. Got you. Well done. How are you, bro?
I'm good, bro. Long time no see. How are you?
How are you, Andrew?
I'm good, bro. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you properly. Can you hear me?
Perfectly. How you been?
I'm very good. I'm very good. So we got some people now getting connected. You know, sometimes Facebook takes a while to inform that we're live, and also it's hard to connect sometimes on Facebook. I rather use sometimes Instagram, but I found that Instagram got some problem as well when we go and share live in your settings.
Well, I tried logging on and I went through the computer, but there was no option. It was only to watch. So, we looked it up with my wife now, and we found that you can only get on through the phone. So no dramas, all good. I've got full battery.
Yeah, we might be good on the field, but not with the technology. Hey?
We'll leave that to the experts.
Yeah. How are you, Andrew? How is the lockdown right now? What are you doing?
So far so good. It's obviously disappointing. That we're in another week of lockdown. We're all expecting to get back out there this week, but unfortunately we're down again. Look, so far what I've been doing is I've been creating some home programs. A strength and conditioning one on Mondays for from SAP all the way to youth, and then slightly modified for the SAP kids, and then for the lower youth and upper youth again slightly modified. And then Tuesdays, Thursdays, I've been sending out like a technical, another technical home program for them to do. And, obviously, yourself, it's, when you're on your own, sometimes in these conditions, where, you're not motivated, where things aren't going right. And, it's really hard. So what I've done is, I kind of bribed our youth and I said, whoever hits the best top bins and makes it the most creative is going to get a free roll from me when we go back to our home game. So, we've had the youth have been really responsive with that. So, a few things like that. What about yourself? What have you been doing with the club?
Yeah, no, that's the situation now. We have to adapt and try to we gotta keep active. This thing is gonna happen and we're gonna get back. The kids are gonna get back into playing and we need to do something because it's gonna be very hard to stop completely for 3-4 weeks and then get back and just try to play and train again. Well, what I've been doing, sorry?
No, I was gonna say it's also quite dangerous too. If we come straight back after 3-4 weeks and we go straight to full throttle mode, it's not good for the boys or the girls' bodies. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Last time we get back, I think after the lockdown, and they gave us 2 weeks.
2 weeks, wasn't it?
And then the season went all the way to October or November, something like that. It was a long season.
Nice. Yeah. So what have you been doing with the club?
Yeah, with the club, I've been trying to do, for example, the online sessions where we try to do some dribbling exercise, some very individual stuff that the kids can just put a couple of bottles or a couple of cones on the ground and practice. It's all about staying active. I don't think we're going to improve any skill. I don't think we're going to improve any fitness ways, but we can keep it. If we were up here in 9 or 8, keep it in 7, 6, you know. And also it's something mentally for the kids. If the kids had a homework, if, for example, I recommend them a lot to do 20 minutes juggling, all right? 20 minutes juggling every day. And I'm sure they have the time. I'm sure a lot of activities got canceled, so they are able to do that. And that actually helps them. Spend time with the ball, spend time juggling, working on his weak foot, maybe just passing with a friend, passing with a brother or a sister, or the parents. That's also so important.
Even just passing against a brick wall or something like that, just getting as many touches as you can, because as you know yourself, the more touches, the better you're going to be and the sharper you'll be. And, you know, at least, you know, if we come back, you know, if we're to come back tomorrow, at least, you know, you've been doing something rather than nothing, because there's nothing worse coming back, especially from into pre-season, for example, on a big holiday, and stiff and your touch is raw, and, you know, it's the hardest thing to do.
And you, as a coach and players as well, you recognize and you realize when someone was doing exercise, when someone was active, when someone was actually putting in the work, and when someone was just mucking around, just sleeping late, not or even going to bed late at night. Stuff like that you're gonna realize, and that's the small difference, you know. That's the small difference between players that makes you a little bit better than someone else, that make you get a little bit further than someone else.
That's it. And sometimes that might be the difference between a starting spot or, you know, your minutes. You might get more minutes or you might get less because of, you know, how focused you are. Because really, at the end of the day, you're retraining your brain, and if your brain's not switched on and not, you know, making the connections with your feet or your body, you know, like you said, it's very obvious, and you can see very quickly who's been working, who hasn't, and, you know, you can get exposed very, very quickly, very quickly.
Yeah, that's what I look for. So if we try to keep them motivated, I think if the kids are motivated, look, I know yourself from Greece and myself from Colombia, for example, we always were with the ball, and playing the game was the best. That's it. So if I got a ball next to me and I can play around, I even do it now. So in between trainings or whatever I see a ball, juggle a little bit, do some stuff.
Feel it, even hold it, you know, just feel that connection with it. There's nothing better, right? You know?
Exactly.
Nothing better.
Exactly. Yeah, and with the people that is watching us, most of them, all right, are already in the team, they are already playing for a SAP team, or there are kids that want to get there, all right, want to get there. And then from your point of view as a technical director, and you've been involved in football a lot as well, and in youth, SAP, and even seniors now. So what do you reckon we are looking for in a SAP player, for example?
Well, I think it's different going, you know, obviously youth to SAP and then seniors right through. It's very different. But when we look at the SAP players, again, you know, if we're looking at a real young one and under nines, I think it's, you know, how active they are, you know, how involved they are, you know, how, you know, are they smiling? Are they excited to be there? Because, you know, I think, and like I've always said to the SAP boys, you know, the difference between sometimes a SAP or that representative player to someone who's not involved in any elite level, it's, you know, I think it's the involvement they have. So, you know, I remember when I was, you know, at Gladesville myself and at Nines, it was, you know, who was the most involved, you know, who could get out there and who was smiling and really putting it in. And then that's when we break it down. How's their first touch? How's their, you know, their dribbling? How's their shooting, you know? And then we start to obviously look at, you know, their balance and coordination. Then we look at how fast they are, or, you know, potentially their size, you know, and the biggest thing is, do we look for the big players, or do we look for the complete player who we think we can invest more time in? Because you know what it's like. You could be the biggest kid on the field 1 year, and then in 2-3 years time, you know, you've caught up, everyone's caught up, and, you know, again, you're just another player who's fallen through. So it's not about making that judgment and looking at who's the biggest standout. I think it's who's most involved, who's excited, who's, you know, taking the time to really focus on improving and listening. Because, you know, at that age, they're like sponges, you know. at 19 years old, they're like a sponge. You tell them something or you show them something, and they're really motivated and keen to do it. They're just going to keep smashing into it. But then, you know, you look at the other side of the spectrum, the 11s and 12s, you start to look at the positional play, how well, you know, they can win a tackle, how well they can, you know, transition from attack to defense, you know, because the 9s and 10s, we've given them that foundation, every position, you know, they start to find themselves, if that makes sense. You know?
No, definitely, and it's good that you break it down by age, because I think that's something that we can't treat SAP as a unit.
100%.
You need to, they different ages, they in different stages as well of mentally. They understand some very little stuff. It's a comparison between under 12 and under 9 player is huge. And as you said, under 9s, if you're an under 9 kid, all right, you just want to go and play, all right? Just want to go and enjoy it. So for me, the most important thing is, as you said, someone that is keen to be there, a kid that wants to, you know, put in the effort, and then later on the skills will come. But if you gotta, of course, to be a representative player, you gotta have a little bit of a level of skills. But that's something maybe comes natural, comes with training, and not too much different. I haven't seen many different between kids 90s or 80s or if they've been playing around.
That's it. I think the difference between that one is then I think it comes down to basically how much they're touching the ball, right? And it goes back to, like, you know, our home programs. You know, those kids that, you know, want to be at that next level, have that cutting edge, will slightly do more, who are slightly sharper, you know, and they stand out more because of the amount of effort they put in, because they are constantly training or they're constantly touching the ball. You know, it doesn't have to be miracles. It doesn't have to be, you know, vigorous sessions, doing something and looking like, you know, they're benefiting themselves. I think that's what makes the difference between that, like we said, elite to then, you know, the ones that are just playing for, you know, local football. But, you know, and I think as they progress too, I think the loyalty factor, you know, like, you know, you don't want to come to that end of the season part and you want to stress out, who are we going to keep, you know, because I know when I was a Glazer, we were very loyal and, you know, we said we want to keep the majority of our squads, you know, and the thing is, are our players going to be as loyal as us? And I think, as you know, and obviously that's not down to the kids. I think it's more down to the parents. Are they loyal to us because we're loyal to them? And, you know, I think that's one thing.
I remember you had this team that came all the way from, was it from 10 and
from 9 to 12?
Yeah,
12.
From 9s.
The very first.
So they did all stuff with you. Yeah, you got them all stuff, and then I took them in the under 13. They were a top team. They were a top team. They know each other. They played really well. Like, the team was unbelievable. That was really good. And also, that's another point. For example, the under 12. When you go to the under 12, the rules still don't make so much sense for me, to be honest. All right. So there is an under 12 player that is preparing to play in a full field. All right, to play a normal football game with almost every single rule. I think even in youth, we don't have the 20-meter rule anymore.
That's right.
Because now the box is allowed. You're allowed to get the ball in the box, all right? So all that stuff that you don't have an offside, for example, or you can kick a free kick, all right? But in the under 13, where the under 13 goalkeeper got, you know, he can be double his size and he's not gonna reach. Free kicks are allowed, right?
Right. It's no restrictions back.
Exactly. It's more realism of the game. So I think, and we have to do our part. And personally, I'm with the club and trying to do that as well. With Glasgow, they've been very supportive. Of course, following Football News Awards rules and everything, but keeping it a little bit more realistic and breaking it by age. 12 and 11s gotta be a little bit different than 9s and 10s. What they're doing. How we train and how they train and what we're looking in players as well. A training session can be based on skills only when you're under 12. You need to have a little bit of a tactic involvement, a little bit of, you know, where you should be, what if, when, you know. So what do you think about that kind of difference and rule?
I think what sets the better SAP programs to, you know, other programs, because if you can get out there and you can start to develop, because as you know, 9s and 10s, it's all about, you know, their involvement. 11s and 12s, like I said, we start to, you know, involve the tactic side of things, and, you know, that's where they start to mature and they've started to understand a bit more, you know what I mean? So I think if we're going to prepare them for youth football in 13s or on a full-size pitch, they need to start to learn, you know, certain aspects, you know, right or wrong. How do we delay a player? How do we slow down a game? How do we speed up a game? You know, if we're winning the game, do we just keep bombing on, or do we want to start again, keep possession, you know, break it down and break the opposition down and make them run? You know, I think it's really important. And I think from what I've seen as well, the better SAP teams stand out because they're already doing these things and they're potentially training the 12s like a youth team, if that makes sense. And I think it does really make a big difference. You know, you see the more naive players, you know, really, you know, obviously get shown up a bit more because they're not exposed, you know, and maybe that's something that, you know, potentially down the track, Football New South Wales might have to look at, you know, fixing, for example, because like, you know yourself taking the 13s, the first couple of months is crucial because, you know, it's not as what everyone thinks. Oh yeah, I can go from 12s. I've been a starting player. I've been a leading goal scorer in the 12s, but you know, it's a different ballgame.
Lost in the field,
it just blows out of proportion. So
yeah, exactly. But look,
the berries, we started before lockdown. We started having the 12s play our 13s a fair bit. You know, and what I want to do when we get back is start to put, you know, each player from each age group, the ones that are, and you know, again, it's a bit of a reward. The ones that are working hard, the ones that are playing well, the ones that are disciplined and listening to play them up, or not just play, but train up at least once a week with the older age group. You know, just to really push them and have that, you know, extra motivation to, you know, get ahead. So you know, there's a lot of
play against the older ones. Play against the older ones is always a motivation for a player, right? That's exactly what I want to say. And that's very unfortunately that the lockdown hits and the COVID again, because we actually did that with half of the under 12. They went and trained with the under 13 at least once a week.
That's beautiful.
And they did a lot of full field games. For example, in the first session, we only had one session. We're supposed to do from now all the way to where it finished. And then the lockdown finished. And the thing is, for example, they get a lot of also as well about from the other kids, you know, getting someone maybe a little bit bigger, someone maybe, you know, a little bit quicker. So how to manage that as well? The biggest space, the strength of the pass, the running and fitness that requires you to go up and down.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that's a very interesting age group, the 12 and 13. Very interesting and very crucial.
It's interesting too how we can kind of lose players as well in that age, because, you know, we've seen, you know, and we've both seen, you know, players come through that age group and they're full standouts, you know, and everyone's talking about them. But then when, you know, it comes to the big field or the, you know, the open play, different ball game. And again, sometimes that player who's not as technical, for example, adjusts and maybe takes a bit more lead on a bigger pitch because maybe they can physically keep up. You know what I mean? So it is a very interesting, quite crucial as well. And you know what? At the same time too, which is one thing that I was always thinking about, automatically in our SAP teams, we have approximately 20 players, right? So as soon as we go to 13s, we need 16 players. So we need to automatically cut 4 players from our team. And then, you know, you always want to open up your doors to, you know, other trialists, other clubs. So, you know, you automatically have to basically cut half of your SAP team, if that makes sense. So, you know, you know, an interesting age group.
I think yes. All right, you come from 20, let's say 20 kids from SAP under 12 to go to 16 under 13. But for example, we want to also deliver players to the A-League Academy straight away, for example. So how many players can we get them into the pathway, the best? So, you know, in that, so if they've done, and that's something I try to ask the parents, if you trust in the SAP process, changing your kid from under 9 to under 10 to another club, and then from under 10 to under 11, it's all supposed to be the same, but we're not all the same. We all got some different style, different. So if you're happy, if your kid is performing well, if you think the kid is learning out of the program as well, wait for the program, and then in that crucial age group 12, people will realize, people will see around. In the gala days, we as a football is a very small circle where we all talk, we all know each other. So then you might give that big jump into, you know, MPL 1 team or, you know, A-League Academy team. They're gonna be there. They're gonna be watching as well.
And I think that's where it also comes down to patience as well. You know, there are a lot of people that kind of, you know, push the issue, oh, they've got to be playing MPL 1, or they've got to be at an MPL 1 club, or they've got to be in an A-League setup. But like, you know, we've seen that, you know, it doesn't matter if you're MPL 1, MPL 2, or next year back to MPL 3. I think it's the level of coaching you're getting And I think it's what you get out of the coaching, and the environment you're in. You could be in an MPL3 setup and have the best coach, and why do you need to leave for? If you're getting that, if you're building on what your coach is teaching you or what your coach is putting in place, why would you need to go to an MPL1 club, for example, play minimal minutes and not learn or benefit from anything, if that makes sense? So, I think right place, right time, patience, that comes back to that loyalty. If you're in a program from nines, why do you need to jump ships every year? Unless it's, it's detrimental to you, to your playing career, and you're not playing and you're not being treated well, different story. But, if things are going well, just ride the wave. And then, when the opportunity comes up, why not? That makes
Yeah, no, exactly. And then it comes also to the way that the training sessions are designed, how we approach the training session to help the kids. And something that I realize now is the game itself is so important. All right, the game itself. So every single training session, all right, you might break it down into some skills, or break it down into some a specific training, skills, but all game realistic and trying to give them as much game as possible.
That's it.
Kids that see a goal, even if they're two poles, if they're two cons, and they want to shoot and they want to take on a player and they want to, score. That's the drive. That's the drive for them to keep going. And then this training session is always high.
That's it. And the more realistic, the better. The more competition, the better. And I think that's, like you said, it doesn't matter if there's any obstacles, put them in place. And that's it. Make it as realistic and game related as possible, because everyone would rather be playing a game, right? And a lot of boys will say, I'd rather play games than train, and that's right through the seniors. No one wants to be training and getting, flogged. You'd rather be getting flogged in a game, and running. It is an interesting concept there, and how it can kind of change people's mentalities and, efforts and things like that.
Yeah, Andrew, in terms of the trials, for example, because as we said, there is kids that want to be there that maybe miss out on the last trial, they haven't been there. How is the best way to approach to a club? How is the best way to trial? How do you recommend to do it?
Well, in an ideal world, and we spoke to our board, and we were lucky enough to get the all clear. We started to release our expression of interest for trials for next season, coaches and players. So I think the first and foremost is, if you are looking at coming to any SAP or any club, I think express your interest. You know what I mean? I think that's first and foremost. Once you express your interest, at least they'll get a bit of an idea on who you are and what you want to do and what age group. In a COVID-free world, bring them in, I think, beforehand if you have that opportunity. Potentially bring them into the setup. You're lucky you've got the academy too. You can take them there. They can, you can see them, firsthand in a technical session. Or if you have that luxury, bring them into a team setting. I know a few times when, even through the youth and a little bit through the SAP, we've seen players come in and trial or, and assess them that way. If we do identify them, if we are happy with them, either one, keep them on. I think keep them on through, if it's during the season, where we can closely monitor them and then say, when it's time, we actually will sign you. We're really impressed, or if, at the moment in our kind of conditions, put that expression out there. If we have the luxury to see them once, excellent, identify them, potentially, have a sheet or some sort of way to assess them and know what their traits are. Do they have a strong first touch? Do they have a good touch to dribble? Are they fast? Are they, well balanced in terms of their positional play? So kind of have in your head some sort of grid or criteria to assess your players. Once you've got that, then you can say, well, I had Sergio come and trial for me. I know he's going to play 11s next year. He's got a good first touch. He plays as a more central defender. He could probably also play central midfield. These are sort of the positions where we can put him, and let's compare to what we've got, and how did he go with our own, players when he did trial. So I think, there's a lot of ways we can do it. A lot of ways, and maybe as they get older, the video analysis, a lot of people now going nuts and obsessed with the videos. The more videos, the better. So, look, if you can't get them in at all, potentially might be looking at a video and seeing how they play.
I don't know if you watched my my conversation with Dimitri.
I did.
Okay, I asked him also the same. He actually started a business out of that, making highlights of players and analyzing the games. And for me, it's been always so important. I'm obsessed with that. I'm obsessed with that. When I finish the games and I got the opportunity to record it, what I do that night is just go and watch the game itself as a coach, all right? As a coach. But as a player myself as well. So we record the games on Glassfield. We go first break. And even if it's a bad game or a good game, whatever it is, I go through the highlights. And not through the highlights, through the whole video and watch what I did wrong, what I should have done better, what if I do this and know that. And starting analyzing your game helps you a lot. But getting back to the trial point, to with the kids that want to try, I think people need to, one, ask for things, and second, being a little bit more creative. All right? Being creative.
And they try things, being dangerous, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Look, there's people there that maybe wants to be part of something, or maybe, you know, but if I want to be part, let's say, you have to be clear with your objectives, all right? And you have to be self-aware as well, okay? As a parent, but also as a kid. Let's say my kid is 11 years old boy. I want him to join the SAP, his first division in the association. He's been scoring some goals. I have seen that he got potential, but not from. So I have to take my cap off as a parent and put the coach on, right? And being as an equal. Everyone saying that's my kid, that's what he requires. And then I want to go to trial for Canter Bankson, or I want to go to trial for Magic or any other team. I need to go and watch that team. I will take one day and go and watch. And I say, look, is my kid might fit into this? What is the level that they got right now? Oh, look, there are a lot of quick boys here. Oh, look the way they pass the ball. Oh, look the 1v1. So I might work a little bit more on that. And that's the objective. Now, when I'm aware that I can make it, I will ask for it.
100%.
Whatever it is. Half of the season, even right now, and I will say, send a message. Look, I wanted to go. Can I go for a training session? That's it.
That's it.
I haven't received a message like that in the whole G. And I haven't seen anyone going there. And then when we open trials, we're gonna see people there that's just gonna turn up. True? Exactly. And expecting that some magically we go and select them. So maybe what if they ask? What if they go, all right, let's, you know, maybe, or come to my game. I'm more, look, we enjoy football. If someone is really keen and they ask, can you come to a game and watch? We will try to make it work, you know? Send me maybe a little bit of a video. Send me a little bit of how your kid looks in the backyard doing some exercise. Why not? Creativity and ask for me is so important, because it's so hard to go with 100 kids and then pick out of that. Is really hard, because we're gonna miss a lot. We're gonna pick the top player. We're not gonna miss on the top player. We all can see this kid's smashing it, right? Selected. But what about the kid that just needs a little bit of training, of coaching as well? What about the kid that is in the middle? To be able to do that, we need a couple more sessions. You're not magicians. You got who is, you know.
That's right. And that's the thing, right? Because, you know, and even sometimes the better players, you know, the more talented ones, the ones we, you know, we look at them, take risks. They might have a bad day. They may have had a bad day at school. They may have not slept properly. They may not have eaten properly. You know, they could be sick.
Maybe nervous.
That's it. And, you know, when you're getting 100 kids to trial, or 50 kids or whatever it is, and, you know, realistically, when we're, you know, in our SAP team, if we are keeping 90% of our team, how many spots are we looking for? 2, maybe 3? You know, if we're lucky, 4 or 5. How are we going to pick, you know, and we can't, as much as we'd love to pick everyone, and, you know, that's, I know a lot of people say it, oh, we hear that all the time, but the reality is, you know, and I now look back to when I was playing, you know, and the coach would say, oh, look, I would have loved to have taken you, but the reality is, you know, we can't take everyone. And I suppose that's also a level of mentality that you've got to learn too. You can't be bummed out about the fact that, you know, I wasn't selected. You know, you've got to be able to, you know, face, you know, roadblocks and be rejected, because that only makes you better, you know. And like you said, the trial process is hard. And funny enough, just before we went into lockdown, I got a message from a parent. And he actually said, you know, do you mind giving me a call? I had a quick chat. He said, look, my son's 13. He's going to be playing 14s. He goes to this academy. He trains, you know, 4 days a week. He plays for this club. You know, what are the chances of potentially bringing him to your, you know, your 13s team to have a training session? I said, look, that'd be awesome. Unfortunately, at the moment, we're in lockdown, or we're about to go in. As soon as we get back and we've got clarity on what we can and can't do, mate, bring him in. And, you know, I like that. We've got a bit of, you know, expression there. We've got someone who wants to put someone in. It's not just rock up to the trial with 100 kids and expect to get signed, and if they don't, oh, this club's shit, or this club can't do that, and the coach is this, he wasn't looking, or the players didn't pass. Because what's the first thing that a lot of people do if they're not selected or they're rejected? They start blaming everyone. They don't take
Yeah, we're trying to blame someone always.
Always. It's just an easy way. I don't know. Maybe it makes people feel better. It's very tough. It is very tough. But look, like you said, that video, that expression. Can you shoot a text? Can you approach the coach? And like, we're very approachable people. We're always willing to talk. And if it's football, like you said, 24/7. 24/7. But you need to get yourself out there. And when that trial does come, I think take risks. Don't be scared. Take risks. Show.
Risks, exactly. That's the attitude. That's the attitude that you wanna see in a kid, all right? You wanna see a kid. You don't wanna see an adult. You don't wanna see someone that is too worried, or someone that is, oh, what if I don't, and we're trying to help kids to rid of that pressure, all right? That should be something that we gotta work for, right? Is kids to enjoy it.
100%.
Not going on one side where they muck around and they, or they don't want to do anything, or someone that is so stressful because they want to be professional players and they just think about that and fight a lot. So when was it? Yesterday? No, on Thursday. We had Jake Coleman from MacArthur FC also. Yeah, in an interview. He's a 19 years old, play also for Australia, and play his first season with MacArthur FC. And what he said is it's all about enjoyment. But something that I love from him is his confidence. He knew he was good. He knew he got the talent, but he knew he had to combine it and put in the work as well. And everything goes around the ball for him, and then he made it. Sometimes you might have some different situations, something that take you out of the game, or you don't enjoy it that much, or an injury, or whatever happens. But you need to do whatever is in your hands. And if in your hands you got time, for example, I got Paul Motsoris here asking me how many training sessions for SAP. I will say kids should train maybe 4 times in a week, and then again on the weekend. From my point of view, it's hard because fields, it's hard because of coaching availability. It's hard because of that. But from my point of view and how I did it and how we do it in South America, we train out of the 5 weeks of the day, from Monday to Friday, we train 4 of them. So we got 1 rest. And then out of the weekend, we also play one day. And it really depends. Where do you rest? Where do you, but you got to adapt. And I will say, as much training as you have, as better you will be. Simple.
And I think on that, sir, because and this is the argument a lot of people say, you need to be training, but it's what training you're doing. You could come in and one day might be just set pieces. It's still training. People need to understand that it's not just train 4 or 5 days a week and run or do high intensity sessions, because really, where are you going to get time to recover and be fully prepared and active for the game? So your sessions vary. There might be a light session. If you're doing 4 days a week, it might be 1 recovery, one tactical, 1 technical, and then 1 set pieces. There's so many different ways we can do it. But I think that's what people need to understand. If you can, obviously, the more sessions, the better. But also a balanced session.
Why are you doing? Yeah, exactly. No, I totally agree with you. And that also comes from the understanding of what I'm lack of, what I'm not that good at, and maybe I need to focus on that as well. So maybe what I'm talking about training, one of those days might be you going on the park and doing yourself a little bit of juggling. All right.
It might be just
but parents, what I found is parents are very aware that kids can get overwhelmed if they do too much. But it's if they do too much of what you're saying, that's the kind of training they're doing during the whole week. They're not resting, they're not eating properly, they're not sleeping properly. So of course, the kid's gonna get destroyed after 1 or 2 weeks, and you see them tired the whole day. You see them, I don't want to go. So sometimes resting is good, but when you need to put in the work, you need to put in the work. You know what I mean? And put it realistically. For example, how many times a week do you train? You train twice or three times?
So our boys train our 9s train twice and our 10s to 12s train 3. So we go Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and then they've got the game either the Saturday or the Sunday.
Okay, but all right, put it in a realistic point of view. You got the training session at 6 p.m. and the kids turns up, maybe 10 minutes before. Then the warm up, it takes you 5-10 minutes, and then the coach. Sometimes, as a coach, you make the mistake to talk too much. Should cut it, say, "Hello, boys, how are you? This is a training, bam, go." But sometimes you make so add another 2-3 minutes there. You got already 15 or 20 minutes of the game, and the kids are just starting. Like physically, that wasn't any demanding. Let's call it just a preparation. And then when they're in the main part of the training and all that, it goes for 20 minutes. It goes for 25 minutes, for 30 minutes, and then a little bit of a game or something. So you're really not training. I don't think actively training the kid is more than 50-40 minutes per training.
You're right, 100%. Because when you factor in your drink like that as well,
And now it depends also of how many times during that training, during that 40 minutes, you are in touch with the ball.
100%.
Sometimes the work is off the ball, moving to receive the ball, which is so important. But to improve yourself as a soccer player is about you on the ball as well. So how many times you're on the ball. So that's the balance now. And as a coach, and of course, in our position right now, where we think what the kids should do is, all right, how do I balance that? But also, how do I create scenarios where the kids touches the ball a lot of times in realistic situations? Mini games. I love mini games personally myself. Possession games with goals. Positioning games with goals. Mini goals, big goals, whatever, with an objective, with an opposition, and maybe a 4v4 or a 5v5.
100%.
Beautiful. That's free game. Go and play.
That's right. That's the thing, and it doesn't matter even with my 18s as well. I'm really lucky that I've been blessed with an excellent 18s team, and when I look at them, how can we keep them moving? At the end of the day, the more active they are, the more focused, the more, I suppose, the smarter their decisions are going to be. So, whether it is a 4v4 or a 5v5 or small possession games, I think the minute we go and put, especially in SAP, 20 footballers in one game, forget it. Really, how many active footballers are we going to have in a game of 20 kids or even 16? Like you said, small-sided games, especially in SAP, keep them on the ball, keep them touching the ball, keep them making those active decisions with the ball. Everything has to be done, and whether it's a passing drill, shooting drill, dribbling, whatever it is, or tactical, let's keep them on the ball 90% of the time. Obviously, and like someone said, now the more games, better, 100%. Really, as a footballer, you make better decisions and you learn from your decisions in a game, not in training.
And from your mistakes. From your mistakes, you should be able to make mistakes.
100%.
If you're not making a mistake in a training session as a player, but also as a coach, you're not learning. You're not learning. You need to make the mistake. You need to be there on the dirt. You need to be on the dirt to deserve to. All right, now that I'm dirty, I need to make something different to go and get better and clean myself up.
And it's taking accountability, and it's going off the conversation you had with with Dimmy the other night. It actually, when I watched it, it made me thought back to my game against the 18s against Gladesville. One of my star players in the team. Unbelievable. And when we came back and we watched the video analysis on Monday night, it's accountability. And he said, no, I put my hand up right there. Then I should have done this, this, and this. And because I didn't, it led to that. And if you're not accountable, if you're not taking responsibility, really, one, you're not going to learn. Two, you're going to be exposed in front of everyone else, and which will be exposed in a video or on the pitch. You've got to take accountability.
So that's true. So, Andrew, just to respect your time and maybe you're busy on a Saturday morning. We normally are at the pitch right now. We normally are in one of the pitches around New South Wales right now. So it's a good time, a little bit of rest. Andrew, for the point of a parent, all right, that is asking, what should I do with my kid? I know he might not be, or we got 2 points. Where would the kid want to make it, but maybe it's not that good and it's not ready. I will say it's not ready.
Yeah.
And the other one where the kid got such a good potential, but he's too worried about football that maybe he's going over the top. What would be the recommendation for a parent point of view? I mean, from your coaching, but I know you don't have kids. But
look, I think, and this is where I've kind of probably learned now, you know, especially being in this technical director role. I think, you know, if you are aware of the level your child is at, you know, and might be aware that your child potentially mentally isn't ready for it, because sometimes it might be technically they are, but mentally they're not. I think what it might be, maybe in a more relaxed environment, potentially it might be just spend a season in an academy like yourself, you know, find somewhere that's suitable to your area. You know, I know obviously a lot of people travel all over Sydney, but sometimes it's convenience, because at the end of the day, you know, if you're traveling over an hour, you know, 2 hours, let's say, to get to an academy session, and you're training for an hour, you know, think about the benefits. So I think it's potentially finding an academy or some sort of program that's suitable for your kid, where there's less pressure. You've got the opportunity to be clearly, you know, watched. You're getting proper feedback, and, you know, they're building their confidence. They're training, you know, potentially the same amount of times as you would in SAP or in a youth program, you know, and you're starting to hone in on those skills. And then when it comes potentially 6 months, a year, even 2 years sometimes for some, maybe 3, then you might say, well, you know what, we've done the groundwork, we've trained vigorously, and, you know, for 2, 3 times, 4 times a week, we're at that level of, you know, stamina, we've got the confidence, now we're ready to go, you know what I mean? So I think personally, if you're not 100% yet at that level, find a program, some sort of academy, some sort of extra training on top of it. Might be your club training, to basically build that confidence, get basically the stamina, and, you know, your own, you know, technical ability to start to rise just as, you know, as much as what they would in a SAP setting or some sort of technical setting. So I think it's just getting yourself in an extra program, you know.
I like what you say about the time. It could be 1G, it could be 2Gs, it could be 3Gs. So I reckon we are, as a human being, you want instant reward. You want, so yeah, like something that, all right, I'm gonna do 2, 3 training sessions, 2, 3 weeks, or 1, 2, 3 months, and then we're gonna see the results straight away. Especially in football, you got a lot of competition around, you got a lot of people there, and it requires some time, it requires some effort, and it's no short term. It's no short term. That would be something that I would say to you. It's not short term, it's something that you gotta work for.
Absolutely.
And then result might come. If any parent or kid that is watching got any more questions, please let us know. Put it in the comment section, and we go through that. Andrew, I got a couple of questions for you here.
Tell me.
Quick questions. It's kind of a game that I've been doing. It's nice and simple, and it's about quick questions, quick answers. All right.
There we go.
It could be football thing. It could be no football thing. So yeah.
All right. I'll get myself ready.
Yeah, easy. All right. Best football memory.
Grand final winner, under 13s.
Good. Best soccer player ever.
Cristiano.
Best coach in the world.
Ooh. Guardiola.
Good. Physical players, smart players.
Smart.
Who will you go to? Who will you go with to a World Cup final?
Oh, I have to take my wife now.
Euro Cup champion.
Has to be England.
Has to be England. Yeah.
In their backyard.
A-League club. Your A-League club?
Oh, Sydney FC. Sky Blue.
MPL club.
The Berries.
EPL club.
Manchester United.
Isolated training or holistic training?
Can I say balance?
Yeah. Bit of both.
Has to be balanced.
Who's your mentor?
Ooh, I got a few. I have a few. I'd say, you know, my dad, definitely. You know, Stan from the Berries, Nick, definitely. George Lazaru, Cam Jones. You know, doesn't have to be a mentor, but, you know, people like yourself, good friends who I've been in football with. Absolutely. You know?
Yep.
People to refer to.
Yeah. If you could have a superpower, what would that be?
Strength.
You'd be Hulk.
Pretty much.
Yeah. All right. That's from my end, Andrew. That's from my
Beautiful.
end. Let's see if there is anyone that got any question there.
100%.
So, guys, thank you for watching as well, for being there. We always have the same people connected, 25, 30. It was good, good. So hopefully we bring in some value there, some ideas, some coaching point of view, what we're looking at a player. So we touch a little bit of what the program is. And of course, should be improvement. And of course, there is always something better. So something we can do to make it better. And we're just helping to get these kids, make them a little bit happier and make them enjoy football.
100%. You know, just get out there, play, get as many touches as you can, be patient, ask questions, you know, and just, you know, accountability, big one.
Yeah. I wanted to mention one thing now that we talk about a little bit about the physical players and the resilience and the time that you need. Is one player that is one of my, you know, my favorite players always that you got, because of the effort the kid puts, the attitude, how he helped at training, all that. I don't know if you remember my player in Glasgow, Michael Whitehead.
Yes, I do remember.
Yeah, yeah, and he was all right. He wasn't one of the big boys. He actually was little. He struggled with the physicality. He struggled with the big boys. Maybe he need to improve a little bit of the technique. But he put in the work for about 3 years. Took him, put in the work, doing by himself, working, and now he joined last season the one NPL one club. He's with the MacArthur Bulls Norwich team. But it's a proof of that, just being resilient, work, and if that's what you want, you gotta work for it. That's it.
And don't take no for an answer. You know what I mean? Don't take no for an answer. You know, I know for sometimes, you know, we do hear that no, or sometimes potentially, you know, we're not what, you know, you're not what we're looking for. But at the end of the day, if you keep working and you use the rejections as positives and you keep working from there, sky's the limit. Whether it is, like I tell the boys, whether it's professional, if it's first grade football at an NPL club, it's still a level of football where you can still be proud of and say, you know what, I'm still playing at a competitive level. If not, you know, whether it's when you retire playing in association, put in your 250%. Make what you want of it. Don't just say, oh yeah, I'm just doing
it. Sometimes kids, and as a kid, that's normal, or even as an adult, you value too much someone else's opinion about you.
100%.
And I reckon that's something that might be dangerous. If it's even if it's the closest, even if someone say, you know, Andrew, you're very good, but sometimes you know, and you believe that. So I reckon even if you should have your own opinion about yourself, and that's the strongest. That should be over every other opinion. You know yourself, you know where you can get, and when you're a kid, you're building that. All right, it's hard, so you get influenced from a lot of, you know, positive and negative influence from around. But if you're as mentally strong, you say, look, maybe his opinion is that I'm not that good yet, but my opinion is that I just need to work a little bit harder, or I just need to fit in a different program, or I just need different coaching, but I'm sure about what I you know, and also for your kids, and value yourself and your opinion more than the other ones.
100%. I agree. Absolutely, mate. You nailed it.
All right.
Well, mate,
Andrew,
it was always good, and it's always
pleasure.
good. We've known each other for a long time, so you know, thank you for inviting me. I'm always open to a chat. So if you get bored again in a couple of weeks, give me a yell. You know,
100%.
So it was a pleasure. Good luck. Stay safe, and you know, we'll be back hopefully sooner rather than later. How does that sound?
No, thank you very much. Just unbelievable. Thank you very much for your time, for the effort being here, and also, yeah, we'll see you on the pitch, and good luck for the rest of the season. Hopefully, we're gonna get back soon. Hopefully, and let's keep active, safe, and motivated.
That's it, mate. Take care. All right. See you later, and take care.
See ya, everyone. Thanks for watching. See ya. Thank you very much. I'm gonna post this now, straight away. See ya. Bye.